Welcome to GamerU's tips and tricks for Might and Magic Heroes Online. This video is for players new to the game that want to learn the basics of battling in this particular MMO game. Well, the basic key to victory is to really maximize the units you control, specifically you maximizing their damage output while minimizing the number of casualties the enemies will inflict on your troops. So basic tip 1, stack counts matter. The number on each stack signifies how many troops are located there. The higher the number, the higher amount of troops in that unit, and so the more damage it inflicts and the less damage it receives. Conversely, the lower the number, the lower the amount of troops, the lower the damage output, the more raw damage it takes from attacks. So, in other words, underdog victories are not the norm in this game, at least not as far as unit versus unit goes. If one unit is outmatched against the other in sheer stack numbers, they will go down fast, and since this game loves to throw armies upon armies at you in the campaign, you need to get smarter than the enemy. This leads to tip number 2. Take advantage of defense, that is, the command you can use in battle to make the entire stack spend its turn defending. For melee units such as these ghouls, defense will turn them into mini-tanks. They can just stand right there and mitigate a lot of enemy punishment, while the others will remain fresh and rich with high stack numbers. It's also a good tactic to fool the enemy AI with. The enemy AI likes to make moves that let it dish out big damage and heavy casualties in one turn, but if they have no other option, they usually go after stacks with low numbers, even if they are already defending. So one thing you can do is bait the enemy into picking on a defending weakened stack. While they dish out so-so damage on that stack, you can heal and protect that stack to recover the damage, while the other healthier stacks can dish out big damage with all casualties getting concentrated on a weaker stack that you're protecting anyway. In addition, defending stacks can still output some damage anyway through retaliation, which leads to the next tip. Tip 3, retaliations. Any stack at least once per turn can react to getting attacked by another unit next to it by retaliating, or getting a free melee attack. This means that melee attacking an enemy unit with high stack numbers is even more of a bad idea, as they can just turn right around and retaliate right back for big damage, outclassing smaller units. This gets even worse if they have natural attack powers such as stunning or if they are defending, which means your own damage will be minimal anyway. So before engaging high stack units, chip away as much of their stack numbers as possible with long range attacks and your own hero's attacks and spells, especially those that might weaken resistance and the like, so that these enemies are at their most vulnerable when you engage up close and inflict backstabs and flanking. Which leads to tip 4. Master positioning your troops to take advantage of backstabs and flanking. The position a stack is left facing after its turn is over will affect greatly the potential damage it can take from incoming enemies. If an enemy attacks it from the sides, it'll add extra damage in an effect known as flanking. If it is hit directly from behind, in the back, it'll be a backstab and will do even more damage. The extra damage is even more brutal if the stack numbers between the two units are imbalanced. A backstab from a high stack can wipe out low stacks easily, and also of note, long-range fighters like archers and the like can flank and backstab with their projectiles too. You need to watch out for one thing though. The enemies also know how to flank and backstab, and they love doing it in fact. So don't rush yourself into backstabbing if it means getting your own backstab. Try to position your units so that their backs are guarded by walls and obstacles behind them. Which leads to 2 last tips. Tip 5, waiting. Units can be ordered to wait, using the command next to defend. Waiting does not skip their turn. What it does is make the stack simply delay their turn so that others go first, including the enemies. They will then be able to move after everyone else goes ahead. This is an important technique to master, as not only you can simply wait for enemies to come at you first so you can attack them with long-range attacks, you can also use to get your own troops out of the way to maximize your own attacks rather than make weaker moves because your path is blocked. And finally, last tip, tip 6, chokepoints. All about chokepoints. Chokepoints combine all the basic tips into one. By blocking a tight passage with a defending stack, you force at least all the melee enemies to try to push your way through your stack blocking the path. Your long-range units can attack without fear of casualties, at least from the melee units anyway. If they have to, they can use the wait command to just sit there and wait if the enemy's still out of range. And through choke points, you can protect the defending unit from flanking and backstabs. The best way to maximize choke points is to weaken the lead enemy stack down to a weak little state. Then you let that weak enemy stack sit there and block the other enemies out while you chip away at them with spells and long-range attacks. The AI is not smart enough to get weak enemies out of choke point traps, so take advantage of this flaw big time to minimize your own casualties. Hope this helps, guys. Stay tuned to GamerU for more info on Might and Magic Heroes Online.